Hey you guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and on this topic I wanted to come on here and talk about the narcissist Christmas spirit. The narcissist Christmas spirit. And I wanted to talk about this because when we think about holidays, right, at least what I used to talk about a lot was how, like back in the day I used to talk about how holidays and like birthdays, events, like shit that, when things are happening for you or things that you desire, the narcissists, they're not fucking with it, right? And they ruined a lot of shit and they make a lot of shit about them, and it's like they want to make sure they know that they're not all the way in. It's their way of disrespecting your fantasy, because to them, that's what it is. It's a fantasy. You're in a fantasy world. Your world is not real. Your world, no matter how perfect it looks, the narcissist sees it as your world is fake. Your world don't exist. The people that you think fuck with you don't fuck with you. As long as you're doing what they want you to do, then everything is good. As long as, you bow down. And the narcissist sees your world like a fake world, no matter how joyful you try to make it seem. And part of the programming that you develop when it comes to events and holidays and things, right? And making shit about you, your birthday and things like that, like, and you don't want to take anyone out of that fantasy world too, like children and stuff like that. You don't want them to feel stressed, and like, you don't want them to think about negative things, and you want them to be the best that they can be, right? That's how we want it to be. That's how we expect things to be. But isn't it ironic that life just be lifing and shit just be happening and things ain't always perfect? And a lot of times people say they appreciate the good times, right? They're grateful, they're thankful. They maybe even acknowledge life and death and understand the limited time and things like that. And maybe not everyone always knew that or understood that, because technology has a way of connecting people and bringing people together, when it comes to certain awarenesses about, different realities. So everyone is traveling, and has different opinions and different realities, and something that you see, so it's something that you look at and you're like, this is so easy. If that's what you want to do it, right? Full of life, full of energy. When you come around narcissistic people, they don't like that. And when they bring that into your life, it changes how you see things. It changes your reality. And now you're in a reality that you can't take back. So you realize that certain things weren't important, that you realize your mistakes, but you also realize the audacity of someone to see those things, right? It's like trying to break a child's reality. Sometimes you're like, it's better for you to just keep on dreaming, you know, and not allow and dream as far as you can, because there's always going to be people trying to bring you down, you know, but dream as much as you can, and even if someone tries to bring you down, you'll get back up. That's what your hope is for every generation to come. At least that's what it is for me in my reality. So Christmas is something that I talked about, holidays, and the treatment that you get. But to me, looking back now, there were moments, right, where the narcissist would be like, you should be with your family. And I would be like, yeah, I was just there, but I brought you some food, right? And looking back now, I'm like, yeah, I should have been. I should have waited, right, to another time. So there was some awareness right there where they were aware of that. So I think back at moments like that, and to me, it was a preparation, right? Because things happen, and the things that manifest itself that are bad in your life also help you see the light. So you start to experience what you're understanding what they're going through. You're at least you're trying to, you're empathizing with them. That's what the plate of food was for. Instead of them being thankful, right? And they might have been thankful. It might have made their day, because that's part of the narcissistic supply. It's just that they didn't care if it was you. And that's what you look back on when it comes to holidays. So when you think about holidays and you think about the destruction of people and the parts they played, the parts you played, it can bring you down. You know, like I said, I talked about holidays, and I've also talked about, you know, Hoovers around birthdays, holidays, events, you know, being strategic. I've talked about, you know, the sadness you might feel around the holidays, you know, one thing I was thinking about was the narcissists. They like to prey on things that you never had, right? Like when the narcissist is trying to understand your joy, like, how can you be so happy? Like, this happened in your life, that happened. You could talk about things, move on from it, but they want you to be stuck in that trauma. They want you to realize what was done to you or what you went through, and your life has moved on in many ways, right? And they try to destroy the people around you, you know, like the people. A lot of times when you have narcissists in your family, they'll tell you, like, move on, right? So all you know is move on, which can also be toxic, because you're not feeling what you're feeling. You're not really in tune with what's going on and how it can happen again. So a narcissist is like, you know, if they feel like, hey, your people failed you, or, you know, you guys didn't have this tough conversation, you just don't deal with shit, that's why you're in this fantasy world, right? So the narcissist can make sense to a certain point, right? But people can go through the same things and not treat people the same way. And we know that clearly. We know that clearly. because certain people didn't focus on that. They might have received a lot of bad. What I feel is like empaths received a lot of bad and we kept doing good, right? The narcissists, they was done with that. So to them, it's like, how can you do, and in a sense, you'll tell yourself like, I can't miss something I never had, right? So even if I express something about something or something traumatic, life kept going. I had to look at the good. So you can't really miss something you never had. And sometimes the narcissist they're trying to attack you one way, right? Like you didn't have a father, right? For example, because they'll pick at anything they can get their hands on. So they'll say that, but you might have had a father with your grandfather, right? So you're trying to understand what they're saying. Like, I can't miss something I never had. All you know is what you know. All you know is the people that helped you, that mothered you, that fathered you, that befriended you. All you really can hold on to is the good. And the narcissists, they make you lose that. They make you lose insight to all the good, and then you really lose all the good, and then you're sitting here like me trying to warn people or trying to tell people not to waste their time and to always be aware and to always live for you and understand that there's consequences because you have free will. So I would think like I could see what they were doing. Like a lot of times, you learn from one another. Sometimes I might be wrong, sometimes they might be right, but if I might have been wrong, I would listen. If they might be wrong, they didn't want to listen. I could tell them Hawaii is not out the country and they would not believe me. I would have to tell them to Google or something, and they would sit here and like, you don't know what you're talking about, so you see that they couldn't see the good in nothing. They couldn't even see the good in you. They could see the good in you, but they didn't appreciate it. And even if they appreciated it, it wasn't enough to allow you to live your life. They needed your energy. They had none. And once they know, okay, I took it, I've had enough, right? And you have to work yourself up, and it's not the same because you were dreaming. You had a dream life that you were dreaming. You thought being honest and doing the right things, and that didn't happen. So it's almost like limbo because and it's not really limbo, but that's what it feels like, especially during the holidays. That's why I'm making this video, because I felt like that for many years, and I understand that certain people, they might be going through it during the holidays. Don't let it ruin your holiday. If you're around these type of people, focus on the good, on the people that are good to you, right? Don't allow people to think that they can bully you out of rooms that you belong in. And there's many things, right, that people go through. I was just driving, and there was a car accident where someone had passed away, and the weather has been raining or whatnot, so someone left an umbrella with a candle underneath it, and it really brought me to tears, because I've experienced death. People that I care about have experienced death, have lost children, and all type of things. So it just really brought me to tears. And the weather, the holiday season, it could bring you down. And there's even levels to that. There's levels to where you're just like, and you get to a point where you don't care about birthdays, you don't care about holidays, you care about the right now. You don't wait to those days to show people you care, to call them, to check up on them. You realize that none of that, those things are what mattered to the narcissist, even while you were with them, whether you know or you don't know. And that's not every narcissist. Not every narcissist is in that situation, but many of them are. And then some of them, their whole family is that way. And there's nothing but, you're going into those situations for the holidays and you're like, oh shit, I'm coming into this situation. And you know that you're in a room full of narcissists and they're all judging you, how much money you make, what do you do, So people are in those situations, or people are everyone's into each other's relationship problems, and people have been gossiping about one another. And now there's this one day everyone's coming together and acting like none of the gossiping has been going on. And everyone's having a good time, and you think, oh man, we're having a good time. And you don't even know you're being love bombed year after year after year by a whole bunch of people that are strangers. They see you as a stranger. You don't know that. And then you wonder why less people come around. And it was happening, right? But I didn't see it that way. Then I see it in a lot of people. And then, some people think that it'll never happen to them. And that's because some people don't understand the concept. Like I said earlier, is that I can't miss something I never had. So the narcissist will always be like trying to imply things, and I'll be like, no. And I think back, and it's like, no, it was him. He missed something he used to have, right? And when they take that away from you, and other narcissists play a role, because there's other stuff going on in the background that you can't control and that you don't even got nothing to do with. But you start seeing like other people are destroying, and then it's impacting you like ripples. And you feel that shit. And it's passed down to the children. And then you're trying to interact with adults, and you're like, hey, it's affecting the other generation. What you're doing is affecting everyone, and they don't see nothing wrong with it. They're like looking out for themselves. And it's going to impact them as well in their generation in the long run. And then you wonder why a lot of people don't know their great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. A lot of people can say, I got the perfect family. Why don't you know your great-great-great-great-great-grandparents? I'll wait. Holidays can bring out the best and the worst in people. But who are these people? What realities are they living? Are you only getting glimpses of it through pictures, through gossip? Are they truly walking your shoes? So a lot of times the narcissist sacrifices you. They cut things short for you. They feel like, hey, it's going to be cut anyway, because we all going to die, because of fear of death. You fear death more than life. You don't appreciate life. That's what it teaches you, is that you don't appreciate life, because on your worst day, you might feel like no one's thinking about me, no one's reaching out to me, I'm alone, right? To those of you who might feel alone. But just like that umbrella with the candle lid on it, I thought about someone and I said, holidays are hard, you know, life is hard itself. Eventually those holidays, those things don't matter. And you don't gotta wait days or till a holiday to tell someone what you're thinking or how, or anything, because you don't know if they were feeling just like you. And even though they didn't take the initiative to say something, you did. And this isn't saying to go reach out to a narcissist. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about those people who have stuck by you through everything. Through everything. Those people who don't ignore you. Those people that, hey, if you call them, they're going to show up right away. I'm talking about those people. And those are not a lot of people. I'm talking about those who won't judge you. Those who won't use them being there for you against you. They just genuinely care. Sometimes it's none. Sometimes you don't have that, right? Sometimes you don't have that. And you might feel like, if I don't have that, then I won't be that for nobody else, because nobody's been there for me the way I was there for these narcissists. You might be in your spiritual healing in a different stage where, like I said, time, all that, you just care about the now. Yeah, you might plan ahead, you might look to the past, but you're breathing now. And you can say that you appreciated every single moment of it. You did what you wanted. You treated people the way you wanted to be treated. People might not realize, the narcissist people, you know, they might not realize the sacrifices or the commitment, or, you know, how it transformed your reality. And even if they realize it, right, which they clearly know, because, you know, while they're doing these things to you, they're letting you know, this is what's gonna happen. I cut your dreams short. Yeah, I've been a mosquito all over your face, flying around, buzzing everywhere, you know. And you realize, 'cause when your soul is at peace, you see the different versions of yourself and how much you tolerated, and the different realities and the way you saw things in different stages. And some people, hey, they might even get older. They might be angry at their parents because their parents can't buy them nothing for the holidays. And then they get older and they realize, my parent didn't have it, but they've always been great, you know, and did their best, and they just wanted to love me. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different ways, so many different versions of you, should I say. There's so many different versions of you. And those who feel like that's, you know, that'll never be you, or, you know, whatever the case is, There's going to be many different versions of you. And you also don't know when your time is cut short. So don't do no stupid shit during the holidays. Don't be out here driving drunk, ready to kill someone. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. Believe me. Don't cut life short for other people. Don't do that to yourself. So that's really pretty much what I wanted to come on here and really talk about. And excuse that I haven't made any videos, but I've just been in peace, and I've just been letting the narcissist do all the talking. I'm letting them do all the yapping. I'm letting them reveal themselves and tell you. So I'm letting them tell you what we already knew. I'm letting you listen, like everything we've been talking about. Look, they're coming out. They're all over the place. They're all over the place like roaches scattering everywhere. Because shit is getting real. Shit is getting real, and those that want to keep sleeping, when that nightmare, you know, when life starts lifing, just remember, the only reason you miss those things is because you had them, right? Just like a lot of narcissists, they want you to miss things you never had. Then they want to give you something that's fictitious. They want to give you a fake relationship, a fake mask, looking like auntie, cousin, granny, dad, mom, you know, uncle, aunt, nephew, niece, whatever, you know. There's many masks around you. So you just have to be aware to be living in the present, and to always reflect, you know, like I've been reflecting. So like I said, I've been letting a lot of the narcissists really do the talking. I don't really got much to say, but when I feel like the time is right, I'll say what I have to say.